Hello, and welcome to the Old Farm Bus Podcast. This is the back of the bus session.
Okay, I like it.
Okay, welcome to the back of the bus sessions on the Old Farm Bus. Today's podcast is going to be a belter. Now, already laughing.
Oh, yeah.
I told you guys. This guest, I'm be honest with you, she's as new to me as she will be to you. I noticed on the podcast I had a lot of my male friends on who are amazing people, like you were saying, intellectual, they know how to hold a good conversation, but it also was bringing a lot of masculine energy on the bus.
Yeah.
And the reason of me doing the podcast and why I was doing this was to help me grow, learn as a person, lots of perspectives, and find my positioning in life, because I'm quite comfortable with it.
Yeah.
I just want to know more.
Coaxing out a little bit.
Yeah, there's loads I want to find out. Loads I want to explore on, and I really do believe with females I've had an interesting journey with. We'll get into all of that. And a good journey. I've got a really strong, business-minded, powerful mother figure.
Yeah.
But not the most loving of people, and she's been really open. She was like, I didn't want you as a kid or anything like that, and
Wow.
left some scars, but I had a lovely grandma and she looked after me and I was nurtured in that way.
Okay.
And I just built a weird self around women, and I've vibed really well with them.
Yeah.
But I've also been nervous, and especially when some powerful, outspoken one said something, I'm like,
Oh, okay.
So, ladies and
amazing.
gentlemen, without further ado, we've got Marcella Motivates on the bus with me.
Hi.
Oh, I'm sorry, I've not got this button, and you need to do your own clapping and woos.
Do I?
Yeah,
Okay.
so I'll do it
What
again.
do I
Ready?
do?
Marcella Motivates.
Oh, shit.
Okay,
now I've hit the fucking
ready, go. Woo.
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay. Amazing.
Just because I need that little sound button to give you a clap in.
Cool. No problem.
Now, Marcella.
Yes.
So the people I'm talking about, there's Kane Ashmore,
Yes.
Gaz Peachman.
Amazing.
What's his second name? Gaz Peachman.
Peachman.
That's it. And a few other people that just sent me your way. They sent me to your Instagram
so
page.
Flattered.
And they were just she's really cool. She's outspoken but kind-spoken as well.
Aww.
Which is a nice way of putting
important.
it. In fact, I wrote a few words down. Let me say a few words that I
feel
thought about you.
Speech.
Here we go.
Okay.
I put these, and then I want you to do your own version of you.
Okay.
So I thought you was wild, out but well-spoken, fiery,
I'll take that.
intense. Don't worry, I don't know you, so I.
Yeah, no, go
The
for it.
thing about
Throw 'em at me.
social media as well, you can grow wrong perceptions quite quickly.
Definitely.
So far,
So far, so good though. I like
strong, fierce, unconventional,
it. Okay. Yeah.
maybe politically driven,
Yeah. Yeah.
heated, and
Yes.
real. And
Yeah.
real.
Oh, that's.
That was what I'd
Oh,
thought.
that's amazing. Thank
Now,
you.
What
I
do you
love
think to that?
I'm so honestly if I could ask somebody to sum me up in words, which is a weird thing to do. That's so flattering.
Get a poet to do it for you.
Yeah, exactly. On a bus in a field, that would be amazing. Yeah, no, that's really, really kind. And I think I don't know, as a kid, I guess, growing up to be somebody I would want to be described in that way. Do you know what I mean? Just I like the strong, fiery, definitely. I think both aesthetically maybe. And,
There was two meanings in my head when I thought of it.
Yeah,
And it's such a beautiful
the ginger
meaning.
hair helps, I guess. But yeah, and just kind of definitely politically driven, because I think everything involves politics somehow. And yeah, I really, really appreciate that. Thanks.
I'll be again last night. I was doing my research and looking through your YouTube channel that you've got out now. What's that called?
So
Sorry.
it's Marcella Motivates.
Love
a little
it.
bit ironic.
Tell us about that.
Okay, so I've been wanting to do YouTube for years. Didn't know where to start, and I've seen sort of loads of YouTubers. And it's all quite conventional, you know, it's all tutorials and beauty, makeup, clothes hauls, things like that, which is absolutely fine. But I think especially nowadays, social media only shows you the best parts of people's lives. In the past few years as well, everything seems perfect. People are always abroad, people are always looking amazing, on fitness journeys and tiny and getting their lips done, and always parties, doing the best that they could possibly do.
Yeah.
And you don't see the little shit things.
Yes.
And I was like, there's something missing here. Like, there's something weird. And everyone's always like, yeah, I'm like motivational and this. And I was like, what are you really motivated? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, there's missing something. So, I kind of had a bit of a ring to it. And I was like, Marcella Motivates. And it's ironic because I suppose I'm kind of doing the opposite of what people
motivationally like speakers
would be
do.
doing. But to me, that is motivation in a way, because I'm kind of saying like it's okay to not be doing that. It's okay if you're like getting wankered. It's okay to like go and have sex with people that you probably will regret. Do you know what I mean? Like, this is all fine, and it's
real parts of life.
It's the truth. It's real. So I guess like a good bit of alliteration as well.
We love a bit of that on here.
Love a bit of that. But yeah, I think that's kind of where it came from. It's just like, I got to a point in my life where I was looking at people online and I was like, I'm not like these people. What am I doing wrong? And I was like, I'm not actually doing anything like wrong as such. This is just who I am. So
and that is, again, the reverse of that. You are genuinely motivating so many people by being who I am.
I guess, yeah.
I must say, like, when I was 15, 16, was Instagram around? There was something around. It may have been MySpace. There was something daft around, but there's always been these personal trainers, be the best version of you in X, Y, and Z. But they really did, like, it put so much pressure on me.
Yeah,
because the only pictures they put up, the only posts they put up was them in like this beautiful, the final mode. And the motivational parts, actually, somebody like, I love a guy called David Goggins, but it just shows this story that he's been on, and he was like obese at one stage, and he couldn't get up, and he was paralyzed at one stage. He's been through a lot, this guy, and that is the motivation for me. He's had a real story, and it wasn't sunshines and rainbows either.
It never
like,
is though, really.
He put in so much effort to get to that place that he's at now, and still at that place, he's not even the final form.
Yeah,
he has bad days. He has good days.
He's being honest and like authentic.
He's a person. He's a human.
Exactly.
He's not a robot, and I
think
love
there's
that
so much pressure as well. Like, so much pressure to do it quickly and to like get instant like results and satisfaction from things, but it takes a long time. And like, I always put so much pressure on myself constantly to be doing things and to be creating and to be going out and getting to, and it's like, there is constant pressure, but to see that actually you have to have a starting point, like we were talking about earlier with the podcast and everything like that. You started from somewhere, and it takes time, whereas people just see finished results instantly, and they're like, I need that now. And it's like, no, it does take work and time and stuff to get there.
And you beat yourself up with these motivational, inspirational pages.
Yeah, 100%.
The podcast ones where they've got hundreds of thousands of people on, because I've not seen their real side, and it's just look at this beautiful aesthetic, look at this. I just beat myself up.
I mean, look
constantly.
at this beautiful aesthetic.
Yeah, well, I'm
like,
very proud.
Like, it's
I'm so
gorgeous.
proud of it, but again, like I love you so much already. I feel like we've got a good friendship forming.
Yes, I'm so excited.
But we were having a really good chat before, and you know, we were saying of our stories, and it's taken me so many knockbacks and setbacks and hit downs and mistakes to get to a point of, right, I'm going to get a bus now. That's another avenue and revenue and idea, and that sort of started to pay off a little bit. But
of course,
nobody knew about the whole other side of me, and when I tell them, they're like, what?
Yeah.
And I kind of feel a bit guilty on that, because I want them to see all them sides and know them stories.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to, I suppose there's like a line between, everyone doesn't have to know everything. Do you know what I mean? Like, you have a private life as well. There's some things that people just, not always. Actually, that's bullshit, I don't. But yeah, some people do. But I think, you know, it's completely up to you. It's completely up to the individual. As long as you don't feel the pressure yourself, you can expose what you want and what you don't want. I think that's like the beauty of it, really. But it's taken a long time, but you've probably picked up so much on the way that's like actually made you more successful really than other people that kind of, it's been an easy ride for, if you know what I mean, because some people maybe have just like been given money straight away to do it, or they kind of got into it because they knew people and it was like, yeah, you can just do your own thing now, whereas you've kind of like had your own journey and built up to it, which is like even better.
If you've had to fight for it, you want that fight always going on. Like, always. I want to grow, I want to better, I want to do something new and spin plates. Just 'cause you've been given that thirst and
Yeah.
hunger for things.
Yeah, and like you said, you constantly like, now you want to do this, now you want to go and do this with the bus, and you want to take this further. So it's like you constantly like want more.
Where on earth did you get this sort of conscious flow and stream from? Like, can you take us back to 0 to 15 and then 15 to... I don't know how old you are, sorry. Why
I'm
would it be
20. I've just turned 23.
Beautiful,
So I turned 23
beautiful.
last week. Literally a week today. I finally got over my hangover. I think it's taken a while. Yeah, I think this is like the first day where I'm kind of like, I'm back in with it, and what an amazing day to do it. Yeah,
Oh,
I think I
thank
needed
you.
this,
Thank
honestly.
You,
like,
Marcella.
thank
That's
you
really
so much.
sweet.
But yeah, so I guess it started from when I was born. When
Yeah,
I was,
yeah.
it came into the world.
There was this voice.
Yeah, it's like this
Told
ginger
me
little thing
everything.
popped out, and it's like, wow. But when I was younger, like I used to be, like I've always sort of been a show off, and I think also that has like negative kind of connotations when actually it's not necessarily a bad thing, you know.
It's weird, like that conditioning, like to wanna. I don't want to say the word show off again, but like be out there.
Yeah.
People want to rein it in so quickly. They're like, hang on, you're
Yeah.
getting outside the box a little bit. What are you doing?
But why?
I don't know. Let's get into
why?
that as
Yeah,
well.
exactly.
I'll let you do your story, but
yeah.
you've
So,
hit a note with me there.
Yeah, like when I was younger, I used to be sort of like, it came really naturally to me to just be kind of like, just dance. I remember just dancing all the time when I was a kid. Like my sister was born, and I was just like, like on the camera, like, fuck that, here I am. Yeah, literally, like, it's like fluffy. I look like Annie, so imagine like Annie, you know, that orphan.
Yeah.
That orphan.
Yeah.
That ginger
You've heard
orphan.
of her.
Yeah.
That
Just
gal.
like dancing around, like absolutely loving it. And I was just always really sort of like wanted to know about the world and was like really sort of like inquisitive.
There's like a monkey see, monkey do analogy, isn't there, that people say? Are your family like that?
Yeah,
Are they very
much
theatrical?
So. Yeah, definitely. I think I've got different elements of my personality from both of my parents.
Okay.
So like my dad, for instance, he's always been sort of quite eccentric, and a lot of people growing up used to be like, "Oh, your dad's gay." Like again, like when we were talking about the toxic masculinity.
Yeah.
Because he used to turn up looking like fresh when he'd like drop me off at school. He'd be wearing like Vivienne Westwood. He'd be wearing
what was
like
he
his suit
doing
and
for
booted.
a job and things? Just interested.
His job's actually really boring. It's not boring, but it's he finds it boring. He works for HMRC, so he works. So he like, which he doesn't enjoy.
But what
he
a
just
cool
got
guy
into
to
it.
like think every day. You know what? I'm gonna get up, be my best
he looked
self,
amazing, and
look
people,
cool, be cool.
Yeah, but people would constantly like rip into him about
Yeah,
it. Like even
yeah.
people at work. Like he, I don't really know what he does. He does something like sort of governmenty, I guess. People at work would like be like, "Oh, look at his shoes. He's gay." Like constantly take the piss. People would say to me like, "Oh, is your dad gay?" Just because he like looks, he loves
cool.
being out there. He's like covered in tattoos. It's really bizarre because he's like 6 foot something, dead tall, bold, quite big, covered in tattoos.
Sounds wicked.
But then he'll put on like shirts, like pink. Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
pink
yeah,
shirts
yeah.
and like pointy boots. And he
Hello.
looks like, hello, here I am, literally. And I think being around that, both my parents have always supported just completely being like authentic and being yourself. And I've been around that since I was young. And like my mum's also sort of very like caring and nurturing, so I think I've got that from her. So it's kind of like, well, I'm just like a product of them, really. So I've been surrounded by it, but it definitely helps to have some kind of inspiration as you're growing up and being around it.
Totally.
You learn a lot from your parents as well. So when I was younger, I was like really confident, and in primary school I was in like all the fucking productions and stuff, like just absolutely loving it. But when I got to secondary school, that's when I was like, okay, not everyone is like this, and not everyone's going to be as accepting.
Okay.
Yeah.
So primary school was sunshines and rainbows.
Yeah,
in
it was.
essence.
It was
a
all
beautiful
cute
place.
and like, yeah, like everything's beautiful, like going for it, just enjoying it, being, you know, having fun and stuff. And then when I got to secondary school, I was like, whoa,
what
okay.
did the bullying kick in? Or,
yeah, absolutely,
okay.
yeah. So first of all, being ginger, straight away. Oh my god,
So
year 7.
the weirdest one though, like honestly,
everyone wants to be ginger now. Do you know what I mean?
Cool
Fuck
look.
off.
It's a genuinely cool look. Like some of the best people
Thank you.
I can think of have got ginger hair.
Yeah,
so,
it's really
yeah,
weird.
it's a weird
'Cause
one.
people are jealous.
How the bullying comes through though, and how it like latches onto certain. Like I was fat, and to some degree, I've got that in my mind of like how they got to that stage, and it's signs of unhealthiness and whatever it is.
I think kids are just little shits.
Yeah, they can.
Do you know what I mean?
Maybe they're not as deep thinking as I am right now.
I don't think they'll sit there and be like,
but there are
maybe
certain
he's not eating.
attachments that they can latch onto, and you're like, how have they gone for ginger? Because they're in a class, they've got someone with black hair, blonde hair, any colour, and then ginger, they're like, hang on a minute.
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
different is a great word though. That's probably human. Like, if you're in a tribe and we're evolution speaking, you're going to see people of difference.
That's true.
We would probably fight or flight mode. So
very true. Yeah.
It must be quite weird as a kid to go to school first of all, and then difference just happens at once if you've not been integrated into
automatically
that.
Like
yeah,
sort of fight
and
almost.
That's where the education things come through, and we are evolving. I think we're in the best time of history at the minute. In some ways, obviously, other ways not so.
Probably not right now.
What I've just seen yesterday was horrific, but I do think we give this time such a bad rep because maybe 100 years ago, which is only one person's time. Yeah. That's the people live 100 years. Maybe go 200 years ago, that's two people old.
Yeah.
We were raping, pillaging, murdering in some places. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We are evolving.
You are right.
Sorry
actually.
to jump
down
a rabbit hole.
It's all, no, not at all. It's really like, it's all important stuff. I think, especially like at a young age, you don't have the like, as you get older, you learn to be like empathetic, I guess. But I also disagree with that in a way, actually, going back on myself, because I was never like that as a kid. And I'm sure you were probably never like, I mean, people change. Do you know what I mean? But it's like, I don't know if it's like a product of their environment or how they've been brought
nurture
up.
and nature.
Yeah, because I've always been so open and non-judgmental towards people. And that's only kind of developed as I've got older. But as a kid, I would never like bully somebody and be sort of like prejudiced towards somebody.
Didn't make any sense when it started happening to me. Like I was really early on. It was primary school because I was a nan kid. She used to feed me all the time, so I got really big.
That's what nans are for.
Exactly, and I couldn't believe it when I got to school. And I was like, "I'm what? Oh, I should be more like you." And because people were slimmer, and it was just such a shock to the system.
It's horrible.
But that conditioning is so early on, and the nurture nature maybe. Like we were saying, it is somebody of difference, but then have they seen their parents act funny around people of different?
Because I've seen that so often when I've been out, like before all of this, and you could actually go to shops.
Yeah. Oh, like, don't get me started.
You'd see like I'd see people sort of like the way that they'd speak to their own kids. Obviously, that's going to rub off. Do you know what I mean? I've seen people speak disgustingly to their own children. That's going to rub off, and also like. Before, like, adults have, like, nudged their kids and been like, oh, look at... Do you know what I mean? And it's
I've seen that.
Like,
that's such a good point, what you've said.
Yeah. Like, you'll see an adult being judgmental about somebody to their child.
Yeah.
So it's
Can
like...
you believe what they look like? Oh, and laugh and make fun and mock, and the kid's like, what?
Yeah, kids are so innocent and oblivious.
Yeah.
I've been out so many times when kids have literally said, like, I love her hair, Mum, look at her hair. And, like, she's so cool, because all they see is, like... colours and vibrancy around them. Do you know what I mean? It's like they're not inherently going to be horrible. It's going to come from somewhere.
Really, like me and Chrissy went for a walk just before this podcast, and we're having a baby soon.
Congratulations!
And we were just talking. How early on is it? Like when they just sponge everything in, or like you've got a blank computer. We were saying like as a metaphor, but programming that, I was a bit jealous because I was saying I wished my mum or my dad had sit and done homework with me and thought like just given me some facts or interesting things and got me excited.
Yeah.
I don't hold too much, but that just makes me go, that's what I'm going to do for my child. That's like, I'm excited to, when I've got my kids, to go, here's some interesting things you might want to know about the world and fire that passion through.
Because you can take what you maybe didn't have in some areas
and
what
make sure I had,
you provide that and what you had, So... Anyway, I don't know what we're tangent.
I went through evolution.
We literally
from your
did. I know.
Beautiful ginger hair.
My little bean of a head popping out to like how you're going to raise your child.
I knew your hair would take us some amazing places.
Yeah, it has. Yeah.
So we got into
bullying in secondary school. Yeah. So mainly because I was ginger, and also I can't really remember. I remember being on the school bus and people like shouting stuff at me and like throwing stuff, and then people ironically now used to call me Ginger Minge all the time. And I used to be like, oh no, like I don't want to have it. Now I'm like, yeah, I've got a Ginger Minge, like everyone needs to see it. like I have
hearing where things
fully
come from.
embraced
Yeah,
the Ginger
yeah.
Minge now.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? Like, but yeah, like at school and stuff, people just used to just be awful and vile. And for most of school, like the first couple of years were okay, but then sort of from like year 8, 9, I'd say like onwards was just shit, really. I made
okay.
some good friends and things, but like I saw people be really sort of horrible, and I kind of just had to make my own way through it. And
On a
get
scale
on
of
with it.
1 to 10, 10 being the worst it could be, that in secondary school, how bad would you put it?
It was really bad. Like I remember, I didn't go to my prom or anything like that because I was like, I had a group of friends, but then something happened at school. It's quite deep. I don't know if you want to delve into the.
You're more than
deepness.
welcome.
Yeah.
I don't want
No,
to
not
push
at
any
all.
people in places.
No.
But...
So one of my friends died. He committed suicide in like I think it was year 8 or 9, and it caused, obviously that in itself was like horrendous. And then it caused this like sort of divide between everybody, and it just got really like intense, and it's quite a lot to deal with at sort of like a young age. And I don't know if maybe that's how I've kind of am how I am now, because I kind of like I had to sort of adapt to that situation and be like, well, I'm going to be who I am anyway, whether you like it or not, kind of thing.
What was the divide? Sorry, when it said it caused a divide,
it was strange. It was like sort of people were saying sort of they had closer friendships than others, and it was to do with like
I get you.
Yeah, that kind of thing. And then everybody sort of just like turned. I felt like everybody just sort of like turned on me, really. But I sort of I don't know why at the time.
Through something as like tragic and
horrific.
should bring everybody together. Look how like sad life can be in essence.
Yeah, exactly.
And like we need to sort of bind together over this. How old were you at this point?
I was 13.
It's very young.
Really, really young. And then from then, because I was in such a terrible place, I got sort of diagnosed with depression and anxiety at quite a young age as well. And was really quickly put on antidepressants. So that's also a young age to kind of like be thrown these like sort of medication without really having any sort of other help.
Yes.
So I kind of went through that period, and it's all like a bit of a blur, really, looking back now.
Are you still on the medication? Do you want me to ask?
No, not at all. So I actually came off of them, I think, was it last year? It was late, I think just before Christmas.
Beautiful.
And I literally just decided, because people were telling me, like, you've been on them for, I mean, that's a long time. I'm 23 now. So that's like
10 years.
10 years. And they're only supposed to be short term as well, bearing in mind. So I was like up and down on different doses and stuff like that. No one ever really said, are you ready to come off them? So I kind of became quite reliant on them. And if I didn't take them for a couple of days, I'd be like, stressing out and stuff like that.
It would hit you.
Yeah, of course. But also I think it's a lot to do with my mind as well. And like one day I was just like, do you know what? I actually don't want to be on these anymore. So I just stopped. I just stopped taking them.
So can you remember at all, like, meeting the doctor and them saying you need this?
Yeah.
Was it that...
It was pretty much...
dramatic? It was...
Yeah, to be
get
honest.
onto this.
I think it's because... I know you wanted to talk about loads of like positive and good
No,
stuff. So I don't want to get too
like what we were just talking about at the very start.
Yeah.
The heroes, the people I inspire and aspire to.
Yeah.
All have the most like honest stories. Like everybody that's been on this podcast, Kane Ashmore, so many other friends. It's like it all began from hurt, tragedy, pain. And I think that's what we have to just keep promoting is
you're right.
Life
honesty,
is not easy. Life genuinely has so many ups and downs, turns and twists. And if we do keep painting pictures of not the truth and just the perfect picture to look at, we're never going to get anywhere. We're never going to progress. So I love hearing
you're right.
your
I mean,
honesty and
that's
openness.
what I sort of said in the first place.
Yeah, you've got it. You know it
go
inside
back on
you.
what I'm
but
saying. Yeah.
I know your reluctance too, because... it can be like made to look like you shouldn't be talking in this way, or people have made people feel, oh, you're a bit of a downer, aren't you? You're always
exactly.
like talking.
But then that's something that we need to change by continuing to talk
I
about
think
it.
You've got a great attitude on that.
Thanks. Yeah, but it's like so I remember because it's such a young age. I didn't know how to deal with stuff, so I'd like self-harm and things like that. And my mum found out basically and was like, right, we need to get you to the doctors, and they're like, oh yeah, like obviously you're really depressed, these will help, and that was about it really. So I started off on like a low dose, and then as things kind of got worse, I'd say they just continued to up the dose, and like I got referred to CAMS, which is Child and Adolescent Mental Health, so I think it stands for, but it's basically like counselling for kids. Didn't really help, so I kind of like, I feel like I had support from my family and stuff like that, but really I felt like I was kind of on my own with it, and it's just something that I had to kind of deal with.
Do you know why that didn't help as well? Like, say, the counselling, was there something there that you thought, this just doesn't vibe me?
I think I just didn't feel like it was sort of real. Like, I didn't feel like there was a genuine kind of care. It was their job, which is understandable. But I didn't feel, because I'm quite sort of, I'd say like I'm an empath, and so I can sort of, I'm quite an empathetic person and have genuine like care for people. So I felt like I was kind of sat there and like, oh, you don't really care about what I'm saying right now. Like, I don't really feel like it kind of provided me with anything. So yeah, I just didn't feel, they kind of threw like worksheets at you and was like, write down how you're feeling today, and I was like, I feel like shit, like what you know. So I guess
draw a picture.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I suppose they were trying to help, but
do you think we've moved to times where it is a bit more understood now and the help is getting better? Have you noticed that in any way?
I mean, I don't know. I haven't had sort of any counselling or anything for quite a long time, but I think the general overall attitude towards mental health has improved, because people are a lot more open and honest. So, like, for example, you know, talking about it now, and like maybe even like celebrities talking about it and things like that.
I think it does help having role models around.
Yeah.
Being truthful.
So maybe that sort of helped, and just hopefully just progressing and people kind of not taking shit anymore and being like, well, this is how I feel and I need help, and especially among like males and things, like obviously I can't speak on behalf of how that would feel, but I think hopefully now people are starting to speak out a little bit more and share how they're feeling, so maybe that's kind of changing their attitudes towards it. I don't know.
Were you open at that age with friends as well?
Yeah, I was. Because I remember I never felt any kind of like shame towards it or anything. I was never like, oh, you know, I shouldn't be feeling like this. I need to get on with it. I've always been really, really in touch with my emotions. Maybe too much. Sometimes it's exhausting. But it's like, oh, Jesus.
I'm with your sister.
Yeah,
I've been there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I remember being really open at the time. I was open with my parents too, and like really open with them because they're very kind of, we've always been really open. Maybe I've been a bit too open with them, but especially like recently. But
if it's made you the character you are today, like, I'm so happy your journey. I'm not happy it's gone the full way it's gone, because I don't want you to go through so much pain, but
it's definitely
I love where it's brought you
so much. Honestly, like now it's because I went. This is probably something else we'll talk about when I went on first dates, like for my interview.
This is great.
They were like,
on first dates.
I know. Okay, I know. It's a bit annoying though, but I'll get on to why when we talk about it. But yeah, so they were sort of like, oh, you know, has it affected who you are today in a negative? It's like, it's all positive, really. Obviously, you know, people still struggle. Everybody does. You'll always have an internal
scars
battle.
are there.
Yeah, exactly.
But you're helping other people, in my belief, of learning from your scars.
Yeah, hopefully.
And we've not got enough time to be on this planet to learn all the mistakes yourself.
Not, no.
If I just get born and I've got to go through everything, it's really good to have lots of people, different stories and different experiences that you can relate to. Go, oh, that's a path to maybe not search down too far.
Of course, yeah. And all of them are valid. Like, they're so different, which is why I think it's amazing that you're doing this whole, not project, but just this thing in general that you're creating, because it's like you have people from so many different backgrounds and things like that have been through different things and come from different areas, but ultimately have kind of like found happiness, hopefully.
I really do appreciate you saying that. And for me, it was just a quest where I'm a deep thinker, sensitive soul. I can't stop thinking, and having a place to channel it, having a place to actually sit down. I feel like isolated a lot of the time on the farm. I'm sat there in my room, like doing edits or whatever it is. I'm like, I need to like go and share these thoughts that I'm having with people. So it really helps having people like you keep coming on here, meeting me and giving me a little piece of you, or like a little piece of your background and knowledge,
Yeah.
because I just want to learn and grow, to be honest.
But same as well, and you're also offering that to other people
Yes,
as well.
yeah.
So it's like a mutual thing.
It
It's
really,
beautiful.
I encourage everybody to do a if you should do a podcast.
Do you know
Whatever
what?
you want to
I
do,
would
I'll
love
help
to
you
do a
in your
podcast.
quest and path, because
Oh,
you
thank
deserve to have a
you.
platform. Me and my friend Zach are doing this other podcast called Words and Wisdom.
Yes.
Zach and Mikey.
Oh,
But we're just
amazing.
doing 10-minute little slots, and we're just like picking a subject. We're going
Okay.
anxiety today, depression today, whatever we want to talk about, but just giving it digestible, like maybe 15. It sometimes runs on.
It happens. There's a lot to talk about and condense.
And that's it with this. Some people have just gone, I love it, I've watched every episode, and others have said, why don't you try and keep it to this? But no, it's this I want to let run. I want to go everywhere. I want to jump down every possible and conceivable pattern we could go down.
Yeah.
But then I've got another platform for that, and I think you should
100%.
do this. I really do.
Do you know what?
I'll
That's
help
such a
you.
good idea. I would love that so much, because I've always wanted to do podcasts, because I've listened to them, and like I listened to what's it? It's either called Fucks Given or Come Curious. It's basically like women talking about, it's two women I believe talking about like sexual experiences, just being dead open and honest.
Perfect.
Literally covering all areas. And I think, and they have different guests on, so sometimes they'll have like experts in different like fields of like sort of sex educators, or like
Men and
like-
women.
I'm not sure. Yes, actually, because a couple of my friends went on there, because they're absolutely amazing, and they're a couple of people that I've met along the way that have really sort of fueled my kind of confidence, I guess.
And there's a lot of that.
Yeah, maybe a little bit too much, but
Never.
no, not at all. But yeah, so they have different guests on, and I think having different people on to chat to is amazing, because there's only so much. I like the sound of my own voice a little bit, but not too. Do you know what I mean? Like YouTube, I think, is a good platform to kind of have like sort of visually and just get loads of stuff on there, but to have a podcast and actually listen to different people is a really beautiful thing.
Just
so.
opens you up as a person, you know.
Yeah,
I sat down
exactly.
thinking, I remember getting to one silly stage in my life, just like, I know it all now.
Yeah, but we
I've
all
got
do
it
that,
all. I've
though.
been there. I've had my like, I need to change the world side, and then I've had the like, maybe I can't do that, but make it tangible and change your world, and hopefully that helps change others' worlds a little bit.
Yeah.
And I've been through lots of stages, and to get to that stage where I've stopped learning, I don't think I can do any more learning now. It was the daftest thing I've ever thought, I think.
Yeah, but it's easy to think like that though, and you've also like realised that you will continue to learn.
Oh,
more,
it
and
was
that's,
such
you
an
know,
opening,
always.
and again, listening to podcasts, going like, I love Russell Brand's a cool guy doing his
God,
bits.
and he's so fit.
Got onto the yeah, he really is. Got onto the trues. So many people, and I was like, wow, thank God. There's so much I don't know.
I know.
And that's an enlightening moment where you're like,
Of course it is.
oh,
yeah.
do you know what? I don't have to know it all. It takes all
Yeah.
the weight off your shoulders.
Because some
and
people
you're like,
don't have that. Some people think that forever, and they miss out on so much kind of like knowledge and inspiration.
It's so much
and
pressure for that person. You've got to be the most knowledgeable at the dinner table. You've got to go to every party, and you've got to, what's the word, enlighten people around you.
Yeah.
And I
constantly.
went and did travelling. I lived in like Australia for a year, South
wow.
Africa for a year, lots of places. And for a long time of it, I was just trying to be mini Russell Brand running around like, hello mate, I could do this for
I
you.
can picture that.
And all my mates would like laugh at me, and I didn't know what was going on. But
It's
I've
a
been
journey,
through it.
though.
I've been
You've
through it. It's a
and come out
journey.
the other end, so.
I feel good enough to be able to have fun at myself about it, though. I don't need to look back and feel any like remorse or I've done it wrong.
Yourself for it. No, definitely not.
But thank you for your nice words on the podcast.
No, you're very welcome.
Honestly,
You
like,
deserve
take
it.
me up on helping you
I
on yours,
will.
because we'll
Absolutely, I've
come
got
up
a
with a
lot to learn.
platform. If you want to keep coming to the bus as well to do it, like
Imagine
it's your
that.
space.
Yes, thank you. So I'll just bring some like feather boas and stuff.
Yeah,
maybe.
we'll get
Sorted.
your sign at the back, and we're
Yeah,
there.
perfect.
So, what is it for you now with the YouTube channel as well? Have you thought of a path and a direction with it?
Oh, kind of. It's a weird one because it's such a strange time as well. I've got a lot. I feel like I've constantly got a lot going on in my head. Like I don't know if you do as well, but I feel like sort of as creative people, like I feel like there's always things going on because you think, right, I could do this, and now there's so much time to do it. it's almost like too much. Do you know what I mean? It's like it's quite
completely.
a lot. So it's like I've tried to kind of condense it down, and because I've not done it before and I didn't really know how to go about it, I just thought I'll go straight in, which is why the first one is like there's so what was it the
great.
first one I spoke about pissing out a window? I can't remember. I genuinely can't remember, but I was like,
this was something I did in my life.
Yeah, exactly.
Hear it.
But I think, yeah, exactly. Like everyone needs to know. But I think it's just like if you go in straight away, just being yourself from the get-go, people might not like it, and that's absolutely fine. But at least you know that you've stayed true to
and the right ones will come along with it.
And the right ones will come. Like here we are.
Yeah,
exactly.
it does work. It really does.
So I think the general direction with it is to kind of, I wanted to like introduce myself kind of thing, show that like I'm just kind of here to be like authentic and basically show my experiences and things and share them, and to also show people that you are going to go through shit and you're going to have, you know, weird experiences and try different things. And then eventually maybe do like sort of vloggy stuff. So like for instance this, I've not done that much filming today actually because I've been too busy talking, which is good.
You've allowed your minutes off as well. I've been to that thought of, oh no, I've not got my pictures for today.
Yeah, exactly. We're just too interested.
Get it scheduled.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, exactly. So I think because I do tend to kind of get into a habit of like procrastinating and kind of like being maybe like we're talking about before, it's trying to get things too perfect and just kind of like I just need to get it out there basically.
Have you wrote your things down as well? Because I've just telling you as somebody I think we vibe well, and I think I
definitely
get a sense of what you're saying.
Yeah.
Having my partner like Chrissy just say, Mikey, get a whiteboard, get it down in front of you. You know what you're doing, and it's really transformed my life in that way.
I suppose writing things that having it physically in front of you is like is a reminder because
Saturday,
there's so
Sunday,
much going on.
I know what I'm doing
internally.
It does
exactly.
Help.
So I think you're right. Actually, I'll probably do that.
It just builds up, doesn't it? I had
so
many ideas, and if I just have them all constantly in my head,
I've
had them like breakout moments where I'm like, or freak out moments. I'm just like, no, I'll quit it all then. Forget it. I'm gonna live in the woods.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
I have been there.
Yeah, honestly, and it does get to that point. Like, I think some people are different. I know some people that are like amazing at it, and they're really sort of logical thinkers, and they're like, right, I'm gonna do this, and I'll film this and put it out, done. Whereas I'm just like,
horses for courses. You've got to know who you are and what you're about, and like how you work. I've got some of the greatest friends of mine that I just look at them and I'm like, how have you managed to schedule all this in, work it all out? And the brain just works that way, and it's wired. So if you are spinning plates and it's possible, you just got to go, is that my skill?
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe not so much, so I'll write it down and get it sorted, and then you've helped yourself out there.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
so
a good thing to know.
I think coming to terms with, which I think I'm kind of doing at the moment, coming to terms of like who you are and how you work is so important, because you're not going to be the best at everything. You're not going to be able to do everything.
That's a big pill to swallow, isn't it?
Exactly,
You've got to like
100%.
There's so many flaws I've had, and I was talking about this on the podcast the other day. I tried to get into music, and I didn't want any help from anyone, because I was like, I want to know that I've done it all. So I got in the film, but I got in the mixing and mastering, putting it on Logic, so many levels. And then as soon as I was like, why am I doing all this though? Because you're wasting your time if you're not great at something, and there are people that are great at it. If you can get them on board and part of your team,
100%,
you start spinning together, and everyone's on it. And it's just a pill to swallow to say, listen, you don't have to be great at everything.
Yeah.
It's nice to try things, and it's nice to grow yourself, but if you can get people in with you, do it.
And feed off each other's energy as well, because people come up with different ideas that you might not have thought of. This is why I'm kind of finding lockdown really difficult at the moment, because I feed off of other people so much. And it's like being around people that have sort of, they don't even have to be like-minded, but just sort of like positive, want to create, and like, you know, just want to share things and share knowledge and stuff is like really beneficial to me. And right now, because I'm not getting that, I'm like, I'm getting a little bit crazy, because it's like, it's really important to me.
And from what you said then as well, it did make me it prompted a question, but how do you think COVID and the world are going to recuperate, get back together? Like, what do you see coming out of COVID times? Have you thought about it much?
I don't know, you know, it's a weird one. I think I think we're all kind of hoping that people will come out of it with more kind of awareness of other people, maybe more compassion and things like that. I think humans adapt to things very quickly and also forget about things very quickly. Do you know what I mean? So it's like we've adapted to this kind of, most people I think are kind of like, right, this is what's going on, and they've been sort of, you know, getting on with it as best they can. Obviously some people have really struggled, but I think we're all kind of hoping, right, when we get out of this, you know, we're all going to appreciate the NHS more. We're all going to look out for each other more. But it's like, is that, I don't know, is that really going to happen?
Do you think the media play a stupid, ridiculous role in this, though? Because, like, that constant, like, just clickbait stuff now.
It's disgusting. I can't watch it anymore.
Just rolls and rolls. But people are in on it. So when you say people forget things very easily, I can't help but think there's a reason behind it. Because really, if we did constantly promote and share that beautiful message of what I hope does come out of it, and compassion is spread, and people do want to be together more and engage more, and there is a togetherness out of it, that could easily be promoted every day on a nice basic on a basic level, but the media just seem to want to stir a pot all the time.
Always. It's always scaremongering. It's always negativity. It's you're right. You don't get, and even before COVID though, you don't see nice positive stories very often. You don't see things that are really enlightening. You don't see, look what this person's done, or look what people have created. People just feed off of negativity, I think.
And I just can't believe, like, so one of the biggest stories could come out, and then within the next week there's something brand new that they've created, and everyone's forgot about all that. It doesn't matter anymore.
Exactly.
And it was just for a corporate game, really. It was just to make some money or get people engaged in some way. And I don't like just seeing the posts keep being moved, and it's like,
I know.
I think there's something, a deep feeling in me.
Yeah, it's important to move forward, obviously, but it's like, for instance, with like Caroline Flack, it's like with her,
there you go. That's a great example.
She got completely like annihilated online to the point of committing suicide. People for like a week were like, "Oh yeah, Caroline Flack,"
Such
and
a
they'd
good
share
example.
like you know, profile pictures and things. Next thing you know, like I've tried to avoid Twitter at the moment because it's just too much.
Yeah,
but, like people are like bullying people online again,
yes,
trolling people, and it's
I've literally somebody did the funniest like tweet or like a picture, but it was the same person.
Yeah.
And they shared all the Caroline Flack like sad stories, which was sad, and did a big post about it. And then I swear to God, it was like they'd put a picture of the week later of what that person had said about somebody, and it was just the most horrible cyberbullying.
Oh
and
my
it was that mentality of like, I suppose what I'm trying to say is like people just want to be in with the crowds.
Yeah.
They just want to be seen to fit in, and we want to fit. So we just say what the Times are saying.
Yeah.
We just say, not the newspaper, the Times, but
Yeah,
the
no,
actual
don't say
Times. Don't say what the
Please
Times
don't.
are saying.
I think that's why it's important to just, you can choose. I've realised now you can choose who you surround yourself with. So you can't choose what's going on in the media. You can't choose things like that. Unfortunately, a lot of the time are out of our control. But you can choose what you do with it, and you can choose who you're around. So like, we can choose to do this and talk about things. We can choose to hang out with people that we enjoy spending time with, and not to be like what's the word, ignorant to what's going on, but to just also choose what information you want to digest.
Observe it, be aware, but also don't drown in it.
Yeah, exactly.
Honestly, I can see why it's Marcella Motivates, man.
Yeah, she is. I've got a lot to say. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Keep saying it.
Thank you.
It's changing times. It's strange times, and it's like we're picking up a new language, a new way of being, and we're trying to work out how we interact together and how we vibe. But what you're saying there really struck me then. I was like, I saw a quote the other day, and it was like, you create your reality. It was just something as simple as that. 100%. You create your reality. And I sat there for a minute. Again, that thinking side came in.
Oh God, that brain again.
You know. And I'm just sat there and I'm like, wow. Like all these people that are messaging me, and some people, and I love it because I really like to know sometimes you help people by just speaking.
Of course, yeah.
And they say like, man, I'm in the worst place, I'm in this struggle, and I know it's not as simple as always, you create your reality, but that could be such a good starting point for people to just go, what am I doing? What's my life presenting? What situations I'm in?
Yeah.
How can I change it? And
it's important to question yourself as well all the time, and just think like, you know, how you treat people can have it's like the butterfly effect. It's like, this is a whole other thing, but it's like, you know, something as small as like a little butterfly flapping can like cause a hurricane.
Yes,
do you know what I mean? So it's like
yeah.
The way that you sort of interact with people can also impact how people interact with you and the energy you get back and stuff. So, and also like for me, I guess, I think I sort of was thinking, like, I put out there that I wanted to be creative and I wanted to start doing stuff. So it kind of started to happen. Like, do you know what I mean? I think it comes at the right time as well. Yeah, exactly.
Love it.
So definitely right on that one.
Can we talk into your well, I want to go first dates and I want to go Instagram beautiful, like you put your body out there and things like that. So should we go first dates first?
Yeah, okay.
It makes sense.
Yeah,
first
it
dates.
does. First dates first, yeah. Logical thinking. We'll try.
Tell us about that experience, because I've never met anyone that's been on first dates, but I bloody love the show.
It's a weird one. So,
but sorry, I will say, like, yeah, it is interesting because me and Chrissy were gonna go on Don't Tell the Bride. We were so they wanted us on. We were a minute away from being on it, and I'll be really honest with you. I just wanted 15 grand. We both did. We weren't going to get married, or really. I suppose we were, but we were just like,
just of
money.
Course, yeah.
And again, they'd got me to do my mates, my best men speeches, and they filmed everything,
oh my God.
Lots of weird bits, and we were like, this is happening, but we pulled the plug because they were trying to maneuver us way too much, and it was like, I saw the cogs and the mechanisms and the TV doing their thing, and I was like, we're not going to spin this. But I can relate to you on that topic, and then I'm interested to know how my view of seeing the first dates and be like, look at the narrative they built and all that is what they deliver.
Well, I only went as far as, because of what's going on at the moment, I only went as far as being interviewed. So, you know, when you have like the backdrop of the heart and they sit in front and they talk to them. So I got filmed for that bit, but I never went on the actual date in the restaurant. Okay. They matched me with somebody, had it kind of ready to go, and then like I couldn't do it essentially. But the lead up to that though, I still kind of, it sort of exposed me to a lot, and the whole experience was like, Christ.
Tell us.
Yeah, I will do.
I've got a little exciting.
I love it. It's so nice to have people excited about what I've got to say. But yeah, so basically, like, I was single. I think I was single for about a year or so. I was like dating people and stuff. But as much as I like to like joke and piss about, you know, like being single, which it is really fun, but deep down I am somebody that really enjoys being in a relationship, having somebody to kind of like look out for and enjoy spending your time with, all that shit. So I was kind of like ready for that, but also I thought first dates was like hilarious and also an opportunity to get on TV.
Amen.
And
Amen.
so I was like, there was an element of wanting to find somebody, you know, because also they put so much effort into matching you with somebody. It's a really intense process. So basically, like, I applied. My mum and dad were like, just go on it. Like, you've got to get on TV. They might put you with someone cool. So I was like, okay. So you apply, like, you do an online application and basically just put a bit about yourself and, like, who you're looking for. And that's it. So I forgot about it. And then they got back to me and was like, we really like your application. Would you want to do, like, a Skype call with the producers? So I was like, okay. At the time, I started seeing somebody, like, that I knew at work as well. So, like, I just started, like, seeing someone. Didn't really take the first dates thing too seriously because I thought it'll only go so far. Yeah. But I was honest about doing it with the person that I was kind of, like, dating, I guess.
How did they take that? What was that?
It was weird because, like, at first, basically, like, how we met each other the first night was, like, we went out, got really drunk, one night stand kind of thing. And then we were like, okay, we started like hanging out a bit more, but it was still very casual. So I was kind of open with them from the get-go because it was really casual. There was kind of no intentions of anything. But then we started seeing each other more, and then I started hearing back from first dates. So it's a weird, tricky situation, like a weird love triangle.
The universe had presented you with
like,
something.
Whoa, I know.
Learn this lesson.
Exactly.
Good luck.
Yeah, exactly. Just left me with it. But it was really cool. So I did the Skype call, and basically it's really intense. Like, they ask you about like everything about yourself, basically, like your friends, what your background, not just who you're interested in, but like about yourself. So they can get an idea of you, and then they ask like who you're looking for, what you're looking for in a person, and stuff like that. So that was really cool. Really
Can we hear a little bit of that? Just like, Yeah.
Okay, so I'm trying to think. Basically, they asked me to describe like past relationships and stuff. So the people that I've had relationships with in the past, I think have all had like elements that I'm kind of looking for.
Okay.
And I think it's impossible to ask to have everything you're looking for
Yeah,
in one
sure.
person. Like, it's just not going to happen. But they also had a lot of elements that I wasn't looking for. So I was like, right, if I can pick these little bits out. So I guess overall in somebody, I feel like I'm like selling myself. I'm like, if anyone's out there right now and listening in.
I do the editing as well, so I can put a little for sale sign.
Oh my God, please do.
Wow.
Oh, it's like 50p.
The most terrible
pretty
thing
cheap.
I've said on this podcast. I'm
Trying to sell me off to
Bleep.
someone. No, it's fine. I've probably had worse said about me, to be fair, so don't worry. But yeah, so I was explaining just basically somebody who is really open and accepting of everybody, you know, not just me, but like just in general, how you carry yourself as a person. Because that's so important. Like, if you're with somebody and you see them treating somebody else badly,
Have
like,
you had
for
that?
me, that's
Have
like,
you been in that relationship
yeah, I've
ever?
been not necessarily like relationships, but I've been sort of seeing like dating people where you've gone out and you've seen them like sort of being rude to other people, like in bars and stuff, or they'll say something about somebody and you'll be like, well, I'm not going to agree with you on that because you're just being like a knob. But you know what I mean? Like, you kind of, I can gauge people quite quickly and what their intentions are.
Somebody said the other day, like, you can tell a lot from somebody about how they treat the waiter.
Oh my God, that is so true. So true. So that's really important. I think it's important to have some interests, but also, you know, not necessarily agree on everything, because then you can kind of like have conversation about stuff. I did say really tall and tattooed. But that's not like a must, but that's just
helps.
like, it does help, because I'm really tall. Well, not really tall, I'm quite tall.
We all with massive shoes on.
I mean, I've always got big heels on, so it comes with it, I guess. But yeah, so that as well, and loads of stuff. So I was explaining this, and then she was like, okay, thank you, like, we'll take that information, whatever. Forgot about it. Carried on seeing this guy, and like kind of like started seeing each other a bit more. But there was kind of the elephant in the room of like, I'm waiting to hear back from first dates, but also I quite like you, so I don't really know what's going on. And then they got back to me and they were like, we'd love to have you on the show, like we wanted to pay for you to come to London and stuff. And I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. And then before that, you have to have like a psychological assessment over Skype. So they get a psychiatrist, to talk to you, to see if you're
proper
stable
details.
enough to be on
Okay.
TV. Yeah,
to be on
literally.
TV.
I know. She was like, so, you know, you do realise people might recognise you in the street and stuff. I was like, I mean, I'm used to that already. Like, do you know who I am?
Hello.
Don't you know? Yeah, exactly.
The ginger queen is here.
So I was just like, yeah, that's cool. Please, like, recognise me in the street. No, so yeah, that was all cool. And then they paid for me to go to London, basically, which was really cool. So I went down, I can't remember whereabouts it was, but it was quite hard to like get to, and I was in these massive heels, like these big boots. I remember like stumbling around on this little road, a bit like coming down that path.
It's pretty wobbly street up here,
But yeah, so ended up going there, and it was really cool. Like, met the producers, they're all really, really nice. But I got locked in a toilet like 10 minutes before. Honestly, my life is a fucking joke.
Why did you get locked in the toilet?
I was like really nervous, and I needed like a nervous wee.
Okay,
not a nervous
like
poo,
you do.
just a nervous wee.
Yeah, just the wee this time. Yeah, because everyone at home was going, was it a poo or a wee?
Yeah, exactly, obviously. So I got there, and I was like, because I couldn't find it for ages, so I was worried I'd be late. So I got there, and I was like stressed already, sweating, like had a big bag with me, my heels on. So I got there, I was like, really, the toilet? Like, where's your toilet? And it was like this really weird, like, little cubicle, like, right at the end of the building. So I ran up, went in there, whatever, and it was really small and claustrophobic, and there was no, like, nothing. It was literally just a room with the door, like, going all the way up and down, no windows, nothing. That's the toilet, I guess, but you never know. You never know.
A beautiful picture of it. Yeah.
So, like, whatever, went to the toilet, I was like, right, I'm going to be interviewed. I just couldn't get the door open. Like, the door was fully locked.
Right, okay.
And I had big fake nails on
and
as
you're
well.
already panicking.
Sweaty as fuck. It was disgusting, horrible mess.
This is such an image.
I'd done my makeup, like, to perfection that morning. So I was like, right, I'm going to be on TV. Like, I have to look good. But then I was stuck in this toilet, like, trying to get out, and because I had fake nails on as well, I couldn't like get my hands around it properly. I've never said that before. But so I was like trying to open it, couldn't fucking get out, so I ended up ringing because I had the different producers' numbers.
Okay.
So I was like
Oh,
ringing
what?
them,
To get me out the toilet.
because I was like, what if they think I've done a runner? Like, I really want to be here, I want to do this. So I was like calling them all, none of them would answer. So they've got like hysterical voice messages like left on their phone.
need
Like,
to get
I'm stuck in the toilet. Can someone help? Eventually, I got out like through this sheer strength of like adrenaline. Possibly, I managed to
Hulk
just
smash.
rip off the door. Yeah.
Marcella out.
It's like put my head through it. Managed to get out, and then basically like they interview you in this room. They've got like a massive light. They were like, oh, it's really discreet, it's dead natural. So I was like, oh, cool. And I went in, and there was just a massive
Full-on
light,
studio.
cameraman, like everything.
What?
They came over, was like powdering my nose and stuff, and I was just like, oh, okay. And then they basically just go like ham, like they just. It's almost like an interrogation. Like they ask you so many questions, which is understandable. But you know when you watch it and like a lot of the time people cry, and you're like, why the fuck are they crying? Like, I cried because I was, first of all, because I got locked in the toilet and I was already stressed. But like, secondly, because they like probe you with so much stuff, and like it was, I don't know, like with the light and everything.
When you did that Zoom with the psychiatrist, they were just mapping out if they could break you or not.
Well, that's what I thought. It's like they locked me in the toilet on purpose to
Yeah,
see how I would go.
You on a
like
journey.
Or something. Yeah, exactly.
Let's build our narrative on this.
Yeah, exactly. So it was really interesting, and it was a cool experience. But like, I spoke a lot about myself on there. About like sexual experiences, like things that I've done, places that I've been to and stuff. And like, kind of as I was doing it, I was like, oh my God, my whole work's going to be watching this. And they're all kind of like, they're from Mapley, they've not been exposed to a lot of stuff, potentially. Just judging that by how they sort of react to me working and stuff. Yeah, I mean, they might be, but... And in the back of my mind, I was like, oh, shit, this is going to go on TV. I'm going to be sat there with my mum and dad. Like, they know a lot, but not everything.
You look out your window and all the pitchforks are coming down. Fire sticks.
Yeah, exactly. But
do you think that's actually played a part in... You are quite open about your sexual side, about your body, which I think is great.
Yeah.
And I think really does need to be open and honest in how we do it. A lot of our natural ways men are a lot of the time, well, people are really, is because of repression from talking about sex,
100%.
talking about the body, talking about things. So living in that sort of town or living in that sort of area, do you think that's brought it out of you a bit?
Possibly, yeah, because I've seen how sort of repressed people can be, and like how they kind of, not necessarily just in Mapley, but I'm just aware that it happens, like online especially. Maybe not so much now, which is a good thing, obviously. People are kind of changing and stuff. But I've just met people in the past that have been so kind of like almost ashamed and like quite sort of, oh no, that's a bit taboo and things like that, which is, I think, why I focus so much on it, because I'm so conscious that people don't at all, and I want people to realise that things are like alright, you know, like certain like even like fetishes and things that you're into or people you want to see or be with. I think growing up as well, some relationships that I had with people kind of opened me up to that sort of like mentality of just not judging at all. I've met some really amazing people, like friends and relationships, as well as the bad ones. Like I've met some really good people too. So I've sort of had my eyes opened a lot, and I just want other people to be able to have that as well. Do you know what I mean?
I think it's just such an important attitude to implement.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, that's, for me, growing up in Ripley, like there's a man's mentality, like that toxic masculinity, like that we talk about, really does shine through. It's like, it's really monkey minds, honestly. Like, have you ever been to the Regal on a night out?
No.
That was back in the day, but like we've got association now, but the Regal.
Okay.
And I'd just turn up with my mates. I'd probably have a fake ID. I was about 16, 17.
Yeah, been there,
We go in, and it come from school this, but the girls are there, the men are here, and it's just and you know the fights break out.
Yeah.
It's just a concoction. It's like a confusion just everywhere. Like the men are feeling this certain way, the girls are attracting a certain way, and that animalistic nature just shines through.
But I've noticed that even now still like a lot in town, like even before this, that would still happen a lot. And like on multiple occasions when I've been out, because I do like stand up for myself, I've had like guys say stuff, and girls as well. Both parties and like genders have confronted me about how I look and like how I dress and stuff. And I never back down, so it has caused a few issues in the past where I've been
I
like,
love that you stand up for yourself.
yeah, I'm not gonna like, because I think a lot,
Mm.
especially with men, they this type of men that would do that assume that you'd just be there and be like, oh, okay, yeah.
Yes, yeah.
No, that's not
Yeah.
happening. Like, I've got my fake nails on for a reason. Like, they're going in your eyes, but no.
And again, it's another misconception, I feel like, with makeup and things.
Yeah.
Like, then men, there's another term where they're like, oh, you shouldn't wear makeup, or like that's
Yeah.
tracks you just clearly want for X, Y, and Z, or you just want it for this reason.
Exactly.
It's like,
Yeah.
people don't discuss enough about the greys in life.
No.
Or they're just like, there's black and there's white, and this person's this and this person's that.
Mhm.
And there's such a beauty of life of why everyone acts in different ways.
Yeah.
And I suppose when I was younger, I had it in my mind, like, I'd like to my partner, I was like, oh, you have got a lot of makeup on.
Yeah.
But it was like something in my world that I needed to address for
Yeah.
myself. Like, she actually just enjoyed it. She wanted to
Yeah.
dress herself up in that way. I don't think it was too detrimental to her.
No, and I think obviously everybody has preferences of what they like in people and find attractive and stuff like that, but don't, like, it's not someone's job to tell somebody to
That's
change,
it.
if you know what I mean.
That's
It's like,
it.
if you don't like that in somebody, find somebody else that isn't like that. And I get that a lot though. I remember on Tinder once a couple of years ago, I was talking to this guy and he was like, he seemed really nice, like we're getting on like over the phone and shit, and then he was like, oh, I'd love to meet you, do you want to go for like dinner and stuff? I was like, cool, yeah. And he's like, but if we do meet up, can you just not wear the makeup that you're wearing in your pictures? And I was like,
oh, God.
so why have you wasted my time? Because
Gone.
obviously that's how I like to look. So why, you've literally just wasted both of our times here. Do you know, be open from the beginning.
And with your Instagram then,
yeah,
as
like,
page,
yeah.
just because you've got a really incredibly colourful, bright, naked page.
Naked, yeah.
Like, what response are you getting then? And is it mainly men, or is it both? And what sort of response are you getting from that? Because I'm guessing, looking down my messages, I've just got like HMR revenue and all that. Your dad's probably messaging me or
probably, or
whatnot.
Stuart
Like,
on there.
you've not paid this.
Yeah.
But I'm guessing down yours, you've got some spice going on. So.
Yeah, do you know what? It's a mixture, and thankfully, it's the majority of it is really positive, and which is really, really cool. And it's a mixture from both women that are like, I really admire you, I really love your page. I think this is amazing. You look great, which is fantastic. Like, supporting other women as a woman is like the most important thing.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, like, we're all in this together. Do you know what I mean? Like, we've got to.
So when you
support
get
each
a
other.
woman doing the opposite and like doing like the bitchiness or
Yeah.
saying negative things about that, does that take you back? Do you just go, what are you doing?
I just feel sad and frustrated for that person, not for myself.
Do they
because
overtly go to you and message you?
Not
and...
particularly, not women as such. I've probably had maybe a few from men, and sort of at first I did sort of get quite a lot of like sexual messages and stuff.
Fetishy stuff.
Kind of, yeah. And people, I
Feet.
think people. That is always
Feet.
the go-to. People love
Mad.
feet, but
I love this. I follow this comedian. She's a really funny American comedian.
Yeah.
And she's just got this whole Instagram page, and it's like her doing loads of things, but all her feet are blurred out. So she's naked, but her
Really?
feet are
I
all
love
blurred
that
out. I
so
find she's so
much.
cool.
That's hilarious.
Funny
You've
as
got to. 'Cause
anything.
I remember trying to sell a pair of heels, like innocently trying to sell a pair of heels on like the Facebook Marketplace thing. And like I had so many men message me like, oh yeah, my wife wants to buy your heels, so can you just send me a video of you walking around in them just so I can check how they look? And it's like, yeah, all right, like send me the money and I'll do that happily, but you're not getting that for free. So yeah,
Men
it's
are
like
so sneaky, man.
so sneaky. Like if you want a picture of my feet, just ask and
Yeah,
send me the
yeah.
money for it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so a lot of it is really, really positive. Interestingly and sadly enough, the negative sort of feedback that I got quite a bit was like from an ex.
Okay.
Yeah, so like one of my exes wasn't happy at all
No.
with it, and like I guess you've got to understand to a certain extent. You've got to try and see where somebody's coming from. But with that, I was just like, no, because you know who I am as a person.
I was gonna say, was
Yeah.
that like, there a total shift of change of person in you? Like, was there a bit where you'd never like get your clothes off or like express
Probably
yourself,
not.
and then when you were like free
Yeah.
and got your Instagram page and started promoting it, was that ex sort of like, what have you become? Like, what's this?
Well, it's
You're
a
not that
weird
person.
one. No, because he always knew what I was like from the beginning.
Mm,
So I think it was like, okay, this is all right until we're serious, and then we're together now, so you're kind of mine,
Just
and
comes
that's not
back to
going to
that,
happen.
like
And it's
people
like,
trying to tell people what to do.
again,
Doesn't
trying
make
to own
sense.
somebody. It's
Yeah.
like, no, like whether you're in a relationship or not, it doesn't matter. You can't have ownership of somebody else and decide.
And even if you think it's not right for somebody, if you don't think it's
Yeah.
working for that, I still wouldn't, honestly.
Talk about it, though,
yeah, I'll
even.
become open about it. But to my friends that will go out and say, "Oh, you're gonna just get a bad name for yourself. You're gonna do this." It's like, if they genuinely are comfortable, free, happy right now, what is it about you that makes you feel so uncomfortable? You've got to say, you should be like this.
I think it's
you should
honestly
do this.
a lot of the time it is jealousy and
Yeah,
insecurity.
yeah.
So like the people that are saying things like that, they wish that they had the confidence to do it, and they don't. So they'll sort of take it out on you and be like, and try and bring you down. Whereas I think now I've got to the point where I've had that so much in the past, people trying to just like be horrible and like bring me down and stuff, where it's like actually had the complete opposite effect, and it's fueled me even more to just completely be like the person that I want to be and not apologize for it either. Not be like, oh, you know, I'm going to do it, but it might offend people, might not want to see this. And it's like, well, if they don't look at it.
The right ones will come again.
Exactly,
yeah,
100%. So it's really important because it does draw in the right kind of
yes.
people.
I really admire it. I genuinely do. I had a look through it the other day, and it was just like unapologetically being you.
Yeah, 100%. And weirdly, like,
such a good thing to teach people.
It is, and I think sometimes it takes people years, and some people don't realise this until so much later on in life, which is completely understandable because everybody's different, and it takes different experiences, I think, to build you as a person. So maybe certain experiences that I've had have shaped this, you know, and same with you. Maybe some people don't have experiences that make them feel like that, and they're quite sort of safe and comfortable with who they are until something happens, and then it's like, oh God, this is who I am.
Forever changing, though, aren't
Always,
we? You're allowed to like rebrand yourself and renew yourself in every moment. If you're not happy, that's all you've got to go. It's very simple, isn't it? Life. I love the saying, life is really simple until we complicate it.
Yeah.
And if you you base things on, I feel good right now, so what I'm doing, I'm gonna keep doing until I don't. And when I don't, I'm going to change it. And I think you could follow a really nice recipe until you reach your conclusions all the time, and they can always change.
Yeah, definitely.
We're going to do all right, aren't we?
We're all right. We're sorted, I think.
We're getting there.
We're getting there. Yeah, definitely.
And one thing I did want to touch on, not the best word to use there.
It is the best word.
It really is. You've got something about, on your profile, it mentions hair and body hair and love. So in my past, one of my partners would be like what I would say quite a militant feminist, like very strong, and feminism something we could touch on, and I'm fascinated about. I'll be honest, I'm going to go, I'm more of a equalist or whatever they say than feminist, just because I've had bad experiences with feminists, and you may define feminism for me, and then I go, I agree, but I've also seen people brand themselves feminists who have more of a militant attitude that I don't agree with, so therefore I can't call myself that. If that makes sense. It's a very confusing, long process, but it just makes me get to a stage in my life where I go, I prefer an equalist.
Yeah, and I think ultimately that's the thing with feminism, is that it should be that is the bottom line, is that men and women are equal,
treated the same
in every aspect,
same wages, same
aspect of life.
There's element of, and this is a long rabbit hole, there's times where, you know, scientists, there's a man and a woman scientist, and then there is one that could be doing quantum physics, and there's one that could be doing a study on penguins, and one would get paid more than the other through profession of different tasks and everything it takes to be that. but it would still get put in the box of scientists.
Yeah.
So then it would be unequal.
Mm-hmm.
Does it? So I can go for doctors.
Okay.
There'd be two doctors, a man and a woman.
Yeah.
And one could be a brain surgeon.
Yeah.
And one could do something pediatric, so working on that.
Mm-hmm.
They'd both be paid differently because it's a different skill and it takes a lot more to learn one than the other.
Yeah.
But then it'd be doctors would get a bad rep because they're not being paid the same amount. There's a really interesting.
It is, but I think you could. The thing with that is that you can apply that to kind of any job role. So it is in like so say for instance, there's just inequality happens all the time. So really hard-working, highly skilled people are getting paid less than people such as like billionaires, obviously. You know, so there's always that unfortunately is a factor in life, and that's wrong.
If me and you worked in a factory together and we were both called a labourer, then we should be on the same wage.
Yeah, exactly.
If you got promoted and we worked in the same factory, but you were promoted to a different position, it makes sense for you to get more money than me because you'd have different responsibilities
so
and different skill share.
So as long as it is... God, that we could go.
No,
like,
we can't.
So
and I'm so happy to. And I promise you, again, I'm so open to it all, and I want you to feel I'm not like trying to pin or anything.
Not
Do you know what
all.
I mean?
It's
Like,
good to have
I want to
honest
learn,
conversations,
and it's just again from certain things I've picked up on and listened to and got my information. I'm never bound to it. I'm always open to listening. I love again another saying, Mikey, why can't you stop making sayings?
But
I wrote yesterday in a poem, opinions are faulty because if you don't budge, you judge.
Okay.
And if you're not willing to maneuver yourself and think about what somebody else is saying, you're just going to judge them. You're going to go, you're wrong. No, you're a bad person. I think of you in this way.
And I think that's such a tiring sort of way of being as well. It must be hard to be like that because it's like, surely it would be so much more beneficial to want to accept somebody else's point of view and fit around
and find a happy
common
medium or common ground.
Definitely. But I think as a woman and sort of also working in a pub and seeing and experiencing certain situations, like, you know, the way that I'm spoken to, the way that I'm treated by customers, and also from a young age, the way that I've been sort of treated by certain men, men, obviously,
so
because I'm not saying, because it never is all men, because we're sat here having an amazing conversation. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, I'm completely aware of that.
And I have heard people go like men and bracket and tarnish a brush and say all white men or all, and when they just say as a whole, I go, well, I've never done anything to anyone.
But I think the thing that you've got to realise is, like, when people say men, it's like, you know that you're not part of that.
And,
do you know what I mean?
and men shouldn't take it as an attack or a threat if they have been put in that box, but it can also, to me, make it look like that. It can it can feel like it, just coming from a man's perspective. When I hear somebody railing in that way, I like things to be looked at situational. I've seen a lot of YouTube videos where I'm like, well, that's just a terrible man right there who said something absolutely disgusting. I'd sit in a room with all my mates and we'd look at it in the same way. We'd be like, it's a bad person, but everyone I'm sitting around now have a great heart or have a great attitude. So we shouldn't feel attacked.
You're reflecting that by what you're doing, for instance, by having me sitting here speaking about that. So that's really important. And I think surrounding yourself with the right kind of people that have views like that, and also educating people that don't have views like that, you know, like speaking to people and questioning them and saying, you know, why do you feel like that? You shouldn't be talking to somebody like that, and sort of like just not letting people kind of getting away with stuff. Like at work, for instance, like I speak from experiences that I've had, do you know what I mean? So I'm like, if I feel a certain way, it will be because something's happened, and like, not that I hold on to things, but it's just, experiences fuel how you feel, don't they?
Completely,
So I'm just speaking from experience and friends' experiences and stuff, and I think maybe that's where how I am so open with sort of who I am and my body and putting things out there is because I've been made to feel for so long that that's wrong and like I've been objectified and stuff, but now actually I'm taking control of that. So like people can objectify me from a distance, but now I'm choosing to kind of put that out there myself, so it's more of a choice rather than them choosing to do it without my permission.
Yeah, totally.
If that makes
as
any
long
sense.
as it's you being you again.
Yeah, so it makes me, yeah, exactly. It's just, it feels powerful.
Yes,
and if sort of anybody has any negativity towards it, that's kind of on them rather than me. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of like...
Have you had any like old friends from school or like comment on it and sort of say, oh, where have you gone, Dan? And yeah,
but in a way of like the people that would speak down to me and like not get on with it at school, or well, be horrible to me at school essentially, I've now kind of like reached out and have been like, oh hey, like you look amazing. And so now it's like obvious people change and grow. Do you know what I mean? So their perception has changed. They've obviously grown. They're more aware of what's going on now and more accepting. So it's kind of like, I don't hold any malice towards anybody, you know, like it is what it is. But I think that's kind of maybe evidence that people can change and learn new things and stuff.
A lot of trying at the minute. And I like the world we're getting in. I've had some real friends from the past that I'm like, look at and observe and like, where are you going down? And then they'll just get in touch and you're like, wow, that's unexpected.
Exactly. Yeah, it's interesting.
If you're open enough and you just promote you all the time, I think as far down a path as somebody's got, they can look at it and go, that seems different. That seems a new perspective.
Yeah.
And I like that we've got on feminism too here.
Yeah, definitely. We covered like a very small amount.
We tickled it, and I know that's it. We will. And with the podcast and with myself, I really wanted. Today I was nervous as well, having a big female character on, and like the brackets of feminism. My story came from, I was with somebody who was quite a militant feminist, and so she would have like hair.
I was going to say, like, what do you mean by like militant?
So when I say militant, like if I opposed a view or a perspective, I sort of got spoke to in a very negative and horrible way.
Okay.
It was like, no, why would you think like that? You're wrong, and made to feel stupid a lot of the time.
So is that for like just points of view on like sort of anything?
Just
or is
opposing points of view when I was like, and I think I tried to word it in like a way that I wasn't causing offence. I was just like, I don't really agree with that. I don't think that's the case.
Yeah.
And I've had people like, I've had other like, sorry if it's not the right term, militant feminist, but like militant views towards female.
I would say more like, just from my perspective, it would be more of like a militant kind of person as such, because feminists, like, it's going back to equality again. Everybody should be considered a feminist if they want equality. So I completely agree with you on the fact that there are people that are really sort of not doing the name of feminism any sort of help by what they're doing.
You being such a lovely person and such like a big soul and heart, like say when somebody in your in that group like does demonize it or gives it a bad name from doing them things, which it happens to men, it happens to white people, it happens in all groups, like how does it feel? Like you want to remove yourself from that label at all, or do you just go, actually, like they're just not doing the name justice? That's not feminism.
That's it, definitely. I would never ever sort of remove myself from that, because again, I feel that everybody is, or everybody should be a feminist, because that means equality, and the people that are promoting things that are other than being equal aren't sort of like militant feminists. They're just, it's really hard to explain. They're just kind of, they're not doing what should be done to move in the right direction, but it wouldn't make me remove myself from that label kind of thing. But I think, judging by what you've said though, like you are a feminist with the meaning that it means equality, which is what it should.
I think it's again a reluctance of label to me.
Yeah.
Just in terms of like, I know I'm a good person. Like, I do good things to people, and I try my absolute best in any moment to be the best version of me I can be now. I've been through all the naughty, Mikey, horrible times, and I've done that. And I've always been labelled, though, dyslexic, stupid, X, Y, and Z, in lots of good and bad ways. And I got to that state where I was like, do you know what? I'm just me, and I'm going to be the best version of that. And if I keep bracketing myself in certain labels, I keep getting put in boxes, and I keep getting put in, this is what this person thinks. If you're left, you think this, this, and this, and this. And I am much more left person than I am right person, but I'm a bit of everything. I'm a bit of both. So do you
like remove labels?
I try, and
like,
genuinely, like, if I can remove labels from myself as much as possible. I try to stick clear of them, and then if I get in conversation with somebody, I say, what's your thoughts on this? What you define feminism to me, and if they tick loads of things like women should be paid equal when they're doing the same job, exact same job, I'll go yes. And then if they go down the list, and I'll just say yes to everything. I go, your definition of feminism, I am.
I think you can. Yeah, you should just sort of. Sounds obvious, but I think people should just be kind and compassionate and just have love for other people.
Thing to say.
And that's all that there should be, and that's it. Do you know what I mean? Like, labels create so much. I mean, to an extent we need them, but also they can create so much more division.
I suppose I'll put it in a metaphor.
Yeah,
and this metaphor is coming right out the top of my head, so let me see where
I
it comes.
Okay. But
we're on this bus, and say there's 100 feminists on here.
Yeah.
And I did that method where I'm going down the list.
Yeah.
And asking, I'd speak to you first, because hello.
Obviously, I'd push my way forward. Hello.
And I'd come chat with you, and I'd go down my list, and you've just defined all feminism, like the list for feminism in your mind for you. And I'd go yes, and then I'd move on. I think if I went round everybody in that bus of 100, I'd get very different answers in that 100 of people.
Yeah.
And they'd all have a different perception, maybe just with some different ideas. Some would be the same, some would be different. And when I went round to a lot, and then there would be people that I'd go, no, I don't agree with that.
But you can do that, though, in life. Do you know what I mean? Like, that doesn't mean that you should kind of see feminism as like a negative thing because of a select few people. Because you can apply that to anything. It's like veganism as well. It's like, you know, some people would be like, oh, God, vegans, all they talk about is being vegan. Well, actually, no, like a lot. You can apply it to literally anything. So I think as long as you're open, and it comes down to, again, like being yourself, as long as being yourself doesn't hurt anybody else, you're constantly, you know, making sure, like you said, you're trying to be the best person that you can be in this fucking insane world. Such
the view I want to promote and show.
Yeah.
I suppose what the conversation here as well is, I've said no to people, like women in particular. No, I'm not feminist like that. X. And I've just been spoken to in a really flip that on. Not a nice way.
Yeah.
They're like, no, you are, or you should be, or you're wrong.
Yeah.
And that's, I suppose, what happens in lots of groups. If there's this, then people who have had bad response from this go the opposite way, and then all become all men groups. Get me a man group. And
if you're confident enough in yourself and what you believe, that kind of, you shouldn't let other people impact how you view things, if you know what I mean. So obviously it's going to happen. Like, if you have negative experiences, it is going to have an impact on how you feel. But also, if you sort of do believe certain things, it's hard to explain. There's so much to it. But I just think
and this is a slight example there. That was the hair thing. Sorry, the body hair.
Yeah, sorry. Going back
she had like all body hair, and I was all for it, and I was wicked. Like, I love that about you, respect. Yeah. And then, but I choose to shave, like because I've got a manly story behind this.
Yeah, go on.
I used to do like MMA.
Sick.
I love MMA. Like, done my knee in now, and I can't do that. But football and all these things. So what would happen is, like, I get clumps of mud in my legs and the hair, and it just like it'd rip out. And when I
Yeah.
did at MMA, like people like when you're in clinches, people could rip your hair or it just hurt. I
Oh
hate.
my god.
It's such a painful thing, pinching.
Yeah.
So one day I was like, right, and I got my mum to wax my legs for
Yeah,
me.
yeah.
And it felt and looked great. I was like,
Felt like a
see all.
dolphin.
Yeah, I was like, this is
oh,
great.
So soft. And
So
smooth.
ever since then, which was like 16, I started shaving
Yeah, do
everything.
it.
I mean,
Okay.
I mean
Literally everything. Okay, I like
and
that.
Chrissy helps.
Does she get right in there, right in the crevices?
Too much info.
It's fine. I think
And
we've like gone
I think
beyond
we've
that
gone
now.
there. And this person, like, first of all, questioned me on it,
Yeah.
but then made me feel really bad about it.
Oh,
Like,
really?
yeah, oh, you've been conditioned for this. And I explained my reasons, and it was like, no, X, Y, and Z, and made me feel really daft that I did it as a man. I shouldn't be shaving myself. And
Like, yeah. Sorry
No,
to
it was
interrupt.
just-
I was just gonna say, I think that's down to like that person rather
yeah.
than. So again, so it's like me saying not all men are like
yeah,
this.
completely.
It's like, don't sort of. I wouldn't want you to assume now or think now that everybody or feminists
definitely
are like
don't.
that because of that experience.
I definitely don't.
But
because
again-
there are those,
Yeah.
and it doesn't do that to all feminism. It
Yeah.
doesn't do that to all feminists for me. But it because there are those subjects, therefore that's where my reluctance to label and that
Okay,
label
yeah.
comes from, because I'm like, you're somebody pure for me. Like, I can mention quite a few women now. I'm like, just on your level, what you think's what I think. I'm comfortable with that. I really like your way of being and thinking. And we're on the same ground.
Yeah,
Literally on the
100%.
exact same ground. The
Yeah.
only thing is, one of us goes, I like to see myself as a feminist. I like
Yeah.
to, and I'm the only difference is me going, I don't see myself as that. I
Yeah,
can't, and
but
that's it.
but that's fine, and that's you know, as long as people have differences, and as long as like those differences aren't like offending or harming the other person.
Golden
I mean,
rule.
sometimes, yeah, exactly, it can offend, and offending people isn't always a negative thing. So, say if like body hair offends somebody, that's not always like a negative thing. If I was saying like you shouldn't, that looks ugly or that's horrible, that's offensive. But like being offended by things is what keeps us kind of human and constantly keeps our minds changing and stuff. So I think just going into things with like an open perspective and like being non-judgmental and compassionate is like all you can do.
I'm not going to do this quote good, but it was Ricky Gervais. Do you like Ricky
I
Gervais?
love Ricky
And
Gervais
when he's talking
so
about like
much.
people being offended, like about certain jokes and having to censor and so on, it's just, I don't think I'm going to be able to bring it out of my hat. I can't remember what he said, but it was
he
like,
said some kind of
your right about being offended doesn't battle my right of telling the joke or so. It was
Yeah.
just like, yeah, you can be offended. That's your world to live in. That's
Yeah.
your responsibility to deal with and cope with. But it doesn't mean I have to censor myself in a way of shaping
Yeah,
you.
exactly.
And it was just a beautiful way about it.
Yeah.
And when you were saying that, it was reflecting in my
I
mind
love that.
now.
I love that you constantly like
I
you
was
have
getting
little sayings
glitches.
and stuff. It's like, oh, refer back to that. But it shows that you've got like a wide knowledge and also of like inspired by different people, which is really important.
I
to
think
have.
that is number one. Again,
Yeah.
I like the Russell Brand book, but Mentors.
Yes.
That's come out.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
had that on Audible, I think it was
Oh,
on.
yeah,
Free
Audible, I
book.
think,
Me
yeah.
and Chrissy started listening to it on a
I've
long
not
journey.
listened to it. Is it good?
So good. And when he reads things, you're just like, oh,
His
whatever.
voice, man.
Oh. Again, it is Marmite. The amount of friends that like hate him with a
But do
passion.
you know what annoys me though about that is that people, because he's really intellectual and he's got a lot of knowledge and he's read a lot,
Yeah.
and he uses words that are intellectual that some people might not understand. But people automatically think, oh right, he's being like really, what's the word?
I'm not
like-
pedantic, but
yeah,
I know what you said. Like,
what is
but
that
what-
word? But they're like, oh, he's just trying to be clever for the sake
Show
of it.
off
Well, it's
and-
like, well, no, he is just clever.
he's being him.
He's being
Again,
his authentic self.
I
He's
love
intellectual.
Tyson Fury. Again,
Oh,
another
I love
geezer.
Tyson Fury.
What a
Oh my
conscious
God.
geezer. But again,
Yeah.
you've got Russell Brand in the room, you've got Alan Watts in the room, and you've got Tyson Fury in a room.
Yeah.
A spiritualist, a boxer, and a crazy guy. But
yeah.
they're all saying the same thing, and they're all coming from the same place, but just delivering it in such
and they're
different
so
ways.
different, but like you said, the message is the same.
And it's so important to hear all them, because my old football lads will openly come to me and say, Mikey, I'm really depressed. Like,
Yeah.
I hate my life. what do you know?
Yeah.
help me change in some way. I'm dying here.
But that's such a positive thing that they've been able to do that.
And that's but then I've been able to go check out what Tyson Fury's up to, or
Yeah, yeah,
like I
yeah.
won't go look at Russell Brand
Yeah.
because they'll go, mate, I can't listen to that. It's not for me. But they can happily go down the Will Smith, Tyson Fury, and
Yeah.
them sort of vibes. So it's horses for courses.
Of course,
It's
it always
finding
is.
your
It's just how life
thing.
is.
Yeah.
It? Not everyone's cup of tea.
I like Fern Cotton a lot.
Do you? I
yeah,
don't really
not-
like. I don't know. What does she?
She's got a podcast out called Happy.
What?
Yeah, that's your
'Cause I
next
think
job
she's really
today.
Cool.
Yeah,
So
going
that's
into
my homework. Go home and listen to Fern
Tell me
Cotton.
what you think. But
Okay.
she's just a listener. Knows
Yes.
how to provoke the right questions and provoke the right response. Sorry, she's just fascinating. So
Definitely
I've
give that a go.
got a lot of like Chrissy's really into her because she does like to get a lot of her information more from a female voice. It's
Yeah,
just something she
absolutely.
endears to, and I'm like, oh, Fern Cotton's a great one for this, and a lot of my female friends have listened in and just been like, wow.
I love that 'cause she's really cool. She's a
And soon
really
they'll be
good
listening to
personality.
you. They'll be
Yeah.
listening to your podcast.
Yeah. Oh God, I hope so.
You're gonna have to think of a good name for that, and I will get a logo
Oh,
done.
We'll get it done. It would just be like a triangle.
I've got a mate
Like-
who's I'm sure you've got a lot of good artist mates, but he does some incredible designs. But
Yeah.
I think if we get a little you character built,
Oh my God, imagine
logo
that.
moving, and we've got.
That'd be amazing. I
Do you
love
think
that
we'll
so
do a
much.
spin from the ginger, like, or do you want to keep away from that?
Oh, I'm open. Very
Open to ideas,
I'm very
guys.
open to
You've
ideas
heard.
and
Email in,
suggestions.
send in
yes,
your
please
thoughts.
call in. Let us know. Yeah, love it.
So I've got food to eat and places to be.
Yeah,
I know
yeah,
you
yeah.
have too. I have absolutely adored this. I
Me
adore
too. It's
you.
been-
I've got
Oh,
a
I
new
adore
friend. I have got a new
you.
friend.
I have.
And
I'm so happy.
thank you, all the people that like said try and speak to this person.
Yes, thank you so much.
Marcella Motivates, because you really have motivated me. I'm gonna
and me.
go in, edit it, and just think about things a little bit. And I want you back on. Would you come back on?
I would. There's so much more as well.
There is,
There's got so much more juice. and
Maybe we
grit.
just pick a topic and dive.
I think we should do because we're. I love the fact that we're very similar, but also have different views, so we can discuss things and be open about
That's what
things.
I want. I'd say in the podcast, like to have
Yeah.
debate, to
Yeah.
have difference of thoughts and opinions grows us, shapes us, and makes you go, oh, we're human, we're working it
Yeah.
out. I'm not born and birthed to all these opinions where I'm like, no, there's no movement now, there's no way
Exactly.
I can possibly think other. The only way I've got to this stage in my life is by thinking a stupid thing before and going, oh, that didn't quite work for me.
Exactly, and
Go-
trying it. It's
Yeah.
like trial and error constantly, and I think that's what we're probably both trying to kind of show here is that happens and it's normal and it actually should be celebrated rather than seen as a
Thank
negative
you.
thing.
Do you know what? Just on a aside, like I was talking to you in the kitchen and saying how like COVID sort of split some good people as well and made them think certain things. Like this has had the podcast a lot of support, really nice friends, like love what you're doing, and then I've had some say, oh, you shouldn't be doing that because and I get their thought and their opinion, but then this person in particular, when you shouldn't be doing that, came to me first and kind of tried to be nice
Okay.
and said, I've just seen what you're up to and I don't like it in this way, I want to speak to you.
Okay.
And then because I battled back a little bit and just stood up for myself, said like, got the emergency door open, the back door's open, like they can't see behind the space, but we're pretty much sitting outside.
So it's to do with the
regulations
right
and
now.
so we're pretty much sitting outside.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we're cool. Like I'm comfortably to say,
Yeah,
like
and
you're
me
all right.
too. I've
I'm
had
cool.
great
They were like,
time.
no, you shouldn't be doing it. I don't like it. I want you to abide by the rules fully. And I
Okay.
just said back my piece really peacefully and really nicely. And so I'm just saying, like, I spoke to my family, I spoke to my friends, I spoke to my partner. We've all discussed it. We said we're going to be really safe about it, do the best we can do.
Yeah.
And that's our quest. We want to still promote the business. We want to still
got
do
to.
this.
You've got to.
I've got to find new ways of doing it. So the podcast came to birth. And then they just went, right, I'm blocking you on everything.
Oh, okay. That was the instant reaction.
I'm blocking you and I don't want nothing to do with you. And it's a really nice person. And for me, it was just like, okay, so a difference of opinion's been shared,
Yeah.
and that's so quick for someone to go, bump, no, and
Yeah.
that's how easy it is nowadays to just go, block,
I know, and
don't
it's
like that
scary, but then
opinion, block,
it's going
don't
back
like
again
that.
to social media, which is like, it's just, and it's an amazing world because that's how we've managed to interact and do this, but also it is terrifying in the way that you can just remove people instantly. But then again, also it can cut out a lot of bullshit.
Yeah,
so in
yeah.
a way, maybe that saved you
It
from
does save time,
being
do you know,
friends
when
with
you're...
somebody that if they're not going to support you and they have that point of view and they're going to talk to you like that, then maybe it's best for them not to be in your life anyway. So, but I think creating something like this at a time where things are so strange is absolutely a beautiful thing to do. And like,
A lot
honestly,
of confused people that want to say something and work it out on the spot.
yeah. But having something to look forward to, like when we spoke about doing this, I was so excited, and I've been really cautious about this whole thing, taking it really seriously, but having something to look forward to and just like be really excited about, and also looking after your mental health during this time is so important, as well as your physical health. So to do this has like been absolutely amazing. Like I think it's awesome that I've been able to do it. So thank
I'm
you
so
for asking
happy
me.
you've been on
yeah,
here,
it's
and
been amazing.
we're gonna get yours on the go.
Yeah,
we're gonna
we'll
do
it.
this
Do like a
again,
little
and
collab.
I'm just gonna like see a lot more of you
I'd
on this
love
bus
that
and on
so
this
much.
farm.
And just in general,
Do you
because
know-
I think you're a
oh,
great
you heard it here,
person.
guys.
Thank you so
Beautiful.
much.
So, guys, again, massive thank you if you've been here all the way. Hello. We're on the back of the bus sessions. We're on the Old Farm bus. Marcella Motivates. Where else can people find you?
So I've got a YouTube, which is Marcella Motivates.
Mm-hmm.
Bear with me on like the videos because I've been hungover for like a week.
But they're coming.
But they're coming thick and fast.
Mm.
And then also I've changed my Instagram name to Marcella_Motivates. So if you want to just see some general.
And another one now as well, I've seen. What's your other Instagram?
So I've got one called Kitsch as Fuck.
Yeah.
Because on my normal page, I was just posting a lot of things that I'm like really into, like a lot of animal print, as you can see.
I see.
Like just sort of like vintage, retro, because that's sort of where I get my style from. So focusing on my other interests as well, and also it's a little bit sort of maybe a little bit less censored, I guess, because it's got a smaller following.
Sure.
So I feel like the more followers you get, the more risk there is of your account being deleted for posting certain stuff.
Yeah, it happens.
So, but that's kind of just like solely just things that I'm really interested in. Whereas the other one is more like me.
Well, I'll be keeping up to date with both of them.
Yeah,
I swear
just
to
getting
God.
there. But yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you very much. Big love, guys. Peace and love. Stay safe. You're gonna be alright.